That was amazing, wasn't it? You guys are amazing. That was so great. I was watching each of you walking up and to get your certificate. And as you walked up, your faces all changed as you came up. You started there going, oh God, 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 oh God. And as you walked out to get your certificate from Dr. O'Regan, you went, I'm walking in front of 1,000 people. And some of you went, oh my God, I'm walking in front of 1,000 people. And some of you went, I'm walking in front of 1,000 people. And then you got your certificate and you came back and you looked at your name on the certificate and you all had this amazing smile. I watched every single one of you do it. It was absolutely brilliant. I have a whole speech here. It doesn't matter. I'm delighted. I'm so happy to be here. I hope you are enjoying what is a just and correct celebration of your outstanding academic gifts. We don't do this kind of stuff lightly. It takes a fair amount of organization, and you really are worth it. You might not think so at the moment. At the start, when you started walking, most of you didn't think you were worth it, but when you got back and you sat back down and you saw your name on a certificate given to you by the Dean of the Cambridge Business School, you went, yeah, I might be worth it. To be fair, some of you thought you were worth it over there. To be fair, some of you did. Yeah, whatever, it's just a certificate. That's how we roll. So I'm an economist, and I don't worry, people are like, oh God, don't worry. I'm not one of those economists. We tried to come up with the collective noun for economists on Twitter a while ago. So, a murder of crows, a flock of sheep, and we came up with the gloom of economists. So don't worry, I'm not going to do that tonight. I am, however, thinking about contradictions. I'm really, really thinking about contradictions. I worry about the contradictions of my own profession, actually. So, for example, there's been a gigantic economic crisis, but for economists, it's kind of cool. It's a bit like being an undertaker during a plague. Do you know? It's not pretty, but business is quite good. So it's kind of contradictory. If we were any good at understanding the economy, you wouldn't need us so badly, and yet because we're not, you do. And so I've been thinking a lot about these contradictions, and I want to talk to you about yours maybe a little bit. So my story starts off in 1519. So Hernan Cortez sails over the ocean to what is now Mexico. He calls the fall of the Aztec Empire using guns and germs and steel. Himself and about 200 lads. They brought down 1,000-year-old civilization. And he did all that for gold, basically. That's all he did it for, just gold. He was asked by a prince who he had taken prisoner, why do you do this? We don't need this rough, rubbish stuff. It just sort of hangs around. It's not hard enough to turn into anything useful. Why do you want this? And he said, and this is a phrase that has now lasted for more than, or almost 500 years. He said, he had a disease of the heart that could only be cured with gold. And so he destroyed their civilization. Moving back 3 centuries, where Muslims and Christians turned their cities into ruins during the Crusades in the greater glory of their God, as the Christians gained the upper hand, they issued gold coins, thanking their God for his help in conquering the infidels. And at the same time, they minted square coins called millares, and they were emblazoned with this beautiful flowing Arabic script declaring that there is no God but Allah. The Catholic bishops of Agde in France issued these coins, and God-fearing Christians used them. Elsewhere, Muslim rulers calling for jihad against all infidels received their taxes in Christian gold. In Venetian ducats and the Neapolitan gigliolato, I had to pronounce that a couple of times, gigliolato. It sounds like something vaguely obscene, but there you go. That's how the Italians call their coinage. Or the Florentine florin. So you can see the contradictions in both stories, right? You can see them right away. They're not difficult to spot. When mortal enemies trust each other's money, but work daily to kill each other. And when a simple sickness of the heart brings the end of a civilization. You might be aware of many contradictions in your own life. Your parents, the people and your guardians, the people who are here, they were once your models for God when you were younger, And now you look at them in a slightly different light. You watch them stabbing futilely at an iPad or trying to program a DVD player, and you think, how did this person manage for so long? And yet they did, and they have managed so well Look at you. Your parents right now are sitting here going, we are awesome. Look at what we did. Look at her getting her certificate. And they are. But they are full of contradictions as well. So you can't reconcile these things. Your society contains massive contradictions. Okay? You have this idea that everybody can be a winner. We tell people that you can have individual freedom and equality between all individuals. Since the 1700s, all democratic societies have been predicated on this idea, égalité, fraternité, equality. You yourself are a contradiction, each one of you. You've lived a very successful life, obviously. I mean, look at you. Look where you are. Look where you are. You're obviously very successful people. And yet, you know, most of you have had most of your choices made for you throughout your whole life. You've had most of your choices made for you. And now, as you move into adulthood, you're being asked to make massive choices, absolutely enormous choices, life-defining choices that may determine the direction of the rest of your life, while at the same time having to hold up your hand to use the bathroom, right? Every single person in this room went, "An bhfuil cead agam," didn't you? You all did that. Everybody in there went, "An bhfuil cead agam." And it might be worth chanting out, but let's not, just for the evening. So you're being asked to behave like this all-seeing, happiness-maximizing computer that everybody thinks you are in economics, while living what is, for all practical purposes, within a benevolent dictatorship in your parents' home, your guardian's home. So how do you think about your choices? How do you think about your choices? How do you actually go, well, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an accountant. I want to be a carpenter. You know, I want to grow a goatee and move to Silicon Valley and change my name to Seth. Whatever, right? How do you do this? I don't know. Just call me Seth from now on. I know, Nigel, stop. I'm Seth. Dad. So, the institutional structures you have around you are not actually set up to help you deal with these choices. They can give you more information, but you are the first generation to never need more information. You don't need more information. You have all the information. You have too much information, let's face it. But information is different from knowledge, unfortunately. So where do you go? Your parents want the best for you. They want you to get a job. Get a good job. Become a doctor. Something like that. They might say they want you to be happy. And they do. But they want you to be happy with a job. All the parents are laughing criminally going, shut up, Kinsella. So how do you do this? You're not set up to do this. You have all these institutional structures that have been telling you what to do your whole life. And now at this very moment, some of you are in fifth year going, well, will I do medicine? What will I do? And some of you know what you want to do. Some of you know it, genetically. Some of you wake up in the morning, open the curtains, stare at the sun and say, accountancy. Right? And that's cool. That's great. Okay? There's Seth up there with his accountancy, right? Happy days. Okay? Some of you don't. Some of you don't, and I would say most of you probably don't. So how do you think about these things? How are you supposed to think about these things? Well, one thing I would suggest is that you need to read. Okay? And I don't mean read the internet. I mean read books, okay? Read about the contradictions you see around you that you are most interested in. Why is the world this way? Why do people have peace that they fight for? How is this lectern hard when it's composed of atoms that are itself mostly space? How can you, each and every person in this room is a sentient being with 1 × 10⁻14 eukaryotic cells in your bodies? Not a single one of which cares anything about any of you. And yet you're sentient going, what's that lad talking about, right? So how do you do this? So my suggestion to you, ladies and gentlemen, would be to study literature. And I don't mean get a big tome, read it on a Kindle, read it wherever. It doesn't matter. The point is that you get these ideas into your heads, okay? I want you to read widely. Read the greats. Read the greats. I have a little suggestion of things to read in the little pamphlet that you've got there. Have a look at them, but don't be guided by them. It's your head. It's your head space. Do whatever you want, right? I can't tell you what to read. I can't tell you what not to read, Don't read Ulysses till you're in college. It will wreck your head. Okay? I have another tip. If it has a sparkly vampire in it, it's not a great book. If it has Kim Kardashian in it, it's definitely not a great book. Okay? Read the greats. Read the greats. Talk to your parents. Look in the library. Figure out what you might like. I don't want you to eat these rubbish young adult books. They're fine, but they're like eating a burger. I want you to eat the finest fillet of human thought. Okay? Really the greats. Okay? You will be delighted. And there's never been a better generation to do it. It's only a click away. Read beyond your school. Read beyond your parents. And read beyond yourself. Novels in particular allow you to see and experience other worlds. And when you relate these experiences to your own, you'll find your choices change. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, you go, accountancy! Maybe that's not really for you. Maybe you thought about something else. There's a beautiful quote, and I love it. It says, words create worlds. The more words you read, the more worlds you'll know. And right now your world is too small to make the choices that you need to make. So savor the best words in the world in order to expand yours. One final bit of advice, ladies and gentlemen. Do not make the mistake that Cortez made in 1519. Don't have a disease in your heart that can only be cured by gold. Because life is too short. Your lives are going to be amazing. And I envy you. Thank you.